Okay, so once you get your image pulled up, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to your background, right click, and you're going to duplicate that. Simply because this is locked, you're going to take that, toss it in the trash. So the first thing we need to do is try to get rid of your background. The easiest way to do that is to start with the magic wand tool, click on it, and see what it selects. It selected a ton of stuff that's not the background. So if I hit backspace, you can see how it's kind of gone through and got a ton of stuff, which you don't want. So I'm going to go backwards, which is Control Z, and I'm going to hit Control D for deselect. So the first thing that has to happen here is all of the black needs to get blacker. Easiest way to do this, it's a little complicated with this one, but a couple of things. Always go for B for brush. Make sure you have black chosen. And simply go in, and particularly along the edges, and yes, I know that you're trying to do this with a mouse, but particularly along the edges, just trying to get that nice and dark. I'm also looking for areas where the lines are kind of messed up, and I'm going to undo that. For instance, up in the head. And the same thing sort of applies here. I have to shrink down in my brush. I'm going to hit Control plus to zoom in. And I'm going to just try to come in and close up those areas. For whatever reason, the computer is going like crazy slow right now, so we got to kind of deal with that. So I'm looking for any gaps. So I'm going to go in and get that gap. That looks mostly good. Let's grab this part over here. So point being is the first thing you need to do is go in and clean up your drawing. Control minus. And I'm going to go in again with the magic wand and see what I get. Somehow it's getting into this area, and I got to figure out why. Where is there? Maybe that's the gap right there. Again, B for brush. Go across there. Looking for any other weird looking gaps. That, hoping is the last one. W for wand. Select. It's still getting in somehow. That is weird. Control D to deselect. Again, and I'm looking for little gaps along the line. No. Maybe it's getting in through the leg somehow? Okay. Anyway, so point being is you go through and you're going to clean up your image to the point where you can select it without it selecting stuff on the interior. For a point of an example, I'm going to open up a different one. And I'm going to go with one that's nice and clean. Okay, so nice and clean. I select the background. Easy, no problem. I'm going to hit Control D. Duplicate my layer. Same thing. Take my background, chuck it. Select the background and delete it. I know that I succeeded because I have the checkerboard and just the monster. Okay, so now that I have that selected, I'm going to hit Control D to deselect. And I'm going to go to Image, Image Size. So this is huge, 27 inches by 36 inches. And so I'm going to take the height, and I want to have my biggest dimension 4. Notice how it auto sizes it. So 4 by 3. It's going to really shrink it. I hit Control plus. So now I have a 4-inch by 3-inch image. A little bit smudgy, but we're going to go with it. Now I'm going to go to Image, Canvas Size. And I'm going to add 8 inches onto each. Please make sure that relative is selected. Hit OK. And I was just making a nice big canvas. All right. I'm going to select the background. I'm going to go up to Select Inverse. So what that means is that I just selected the monster thing. I'm going to hit Control C to copy, Control V to paste, Control I to invert the colors. I'm now going to take this. I'm going to zoom in because it's going to be easier to see. And this matches in, supposed to match right in there, I believe. Yeah, it matches right in there. So it's not fitting quite perfectly. So I'm going to have to kind of inch it in that direction to make it fit. If it's not perfect, that's okay. So I'm going to make that fit. Then I'm going to hit Control V. It makes another one. Control I inverts it. This one's going to fit in up here. And I'm using the arrow keys to micromanage the directions. Control V, Control I. Place it in over here. Control V, Control I. Place this one in over here. I'm going to zoom out so that I can see what I'm doing. Control minus. And at this point, Control V, and this is going to fit in over here. Control V. And our goal is here, of course, is to fill the entire space to a point. So I'm like looking at this, and I'm going to want something about this size. So I have 9 of them. 9? 9. So I have 9 of them. I'd go with a few more, because this is going to be printed out. So you can see that it's a lot easier if you have a piece which is sort of clean from the beginning. Cost is in here. Okay. And last thing is I'm going to come in and I'm going to do a crop. I'm going to crop like, see how big that is. That is a 5 by 4. I want bigger than that. So I'm going to hit Escape to get rid of that. And I'm going to hit Control V. I'm going to hit Control V. And I need to make this slightly larger. This one's going to go over here. What I'm looking for is an 8 by 8 in rough size. It's going to keep on plopping them in the center if that, you hadn't figured that yet. Okay. Remember, if I need to make them black, Control V, Control I. Okay. Anyways, I think you get the point of how to reproduce them. So once this gets done, I'm going to go and we're going to try this. I'm still at about 5 inches by 4 inches. And let's try bringing this in and see how far we can get. So I'm going to be looking for about a 6 incher by about 6 inches. The only part I'm missing is over here. So I would need to place another one in, which I can still do. I hit Control V, Control I, and I can still move this one to fit in. That one goes right there. Great. Okay, so once this gets done, you do File Save As, save it as your name, and then we're going to be doing other alterations. I just wanted to show you some of the possibilities a little bit later. I can do things like this. So I'm going to add on the edge, and I'm just going to pull this guy for right now. Going to go to Gradient Tool, and we're going to go to the back layer. Layer, insert layer. Okay. This one goes back here. And so I'm going to put a gradient in the background. That's one of my possibilities. And then I'm finally going to, actually I'm going to take the gradient and I'm going to go like this. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. And then I'm going to go layer and flatten the image. Then I can start to do some cool things like liquefy, assuming this will load. And this is going to start to get, like just plain bizarre. Little bit much. But the simple part is we need this.